Call, let the record show all members are present, and it's certainly good to have all you with us. I know there's a lot of recognition, and this is great. And which will get us right into the first part of our meeting, which I always enjoy, when people win awards and do some good things in Rogersville City School. So, I'll turn it over to you for the presentation.
Thank you so very much. You've heard me say this so many times over the last 9 years. This is the favorite part of my job, is getting to recognize students and staff for outstanding achievements. And we have a house full this evening that we're going to acknowledge. Some of these essay winners actually have their papers that they'd like to read for you. So students, if you have those with you and you are willing to share in front of this group, we would love to hear them, but we'll let that be your and your parents' decision. So we're going to start out this evening with these first two recognitions and awards: the Tennessee Foundation for Agriculture in the Classroom and Tennessee Farm Bureau Women's Leadership Committee, the Hawkins County Farm Bureau, the 2020 Essay Contest for 5th grade. This was actually a collaborative effort between Ms. Monsieur and Ms. Hartness during the 5th grade tribe time. First place, and winning $75 and taking his essay to the state, Nathaniel Cope. Congratulations, Nathaniel. And I've told you all this before, but you know I can't miss this opportunity. Nathaniel gets all of his intelligence and good looks from his mother's side of the family. Because Nathaniel's great-grandfather and my Uncle Bill are one and the same person. My mother and his great-grandfather were brother and sister. So,
I would like to say something about Nathaniel, also, if you don't mind.
please.
Not only is he a good writer and won this essay, but I have to commend him because as we were working on these, and it took a lot of effort to get everybody, because we were working on the computers, when he finished his, he went around and helped others. And I think that says a lot about his character. When this is a contest, he went and made sure everything with the computers was working right with him, anything, questions, proofread, be a peer editor. So he did a really outstanding job.
And he gets that from his dad's side. We're very proud of you, Nathaniel. Second place, and winning $50, Bailey Trent. Now, if these two are so inclined, we'll ask Nathaniel and Bailey to share their essays with you, and then we'll go for our other ones.
My title was Why is Agriculture Good? Have you ever sat there and wondered what or who to thank for the essential objects you require? Because I can tell you the answer is farmers and agricultural industries. I think that farmers and agricultural industries are underappreciated for how much they provide that is essential to our environment. One of the ways I think agriculture is vital to our environment is forestry. Forestry is working in the forest, which can mean a lot of things, one of which is keeping tree levels steady. And by doing so, they produce wood, which can turn into things like houses, furniture, and so much more. Think how much you own that is made from wood. Nobody can say that agriculture does not provide this service because agricultural and forest industries spend around $71 billion on economic activity and produce around $300 million in timber sales. So as you can tell, agriculture already has a gargantuan impact on the environment in terms of forestry. Next, let's discuss something that is very important to the survival of all organisms: food. Did you know that you can only go for 3 weeks without food? And agriculture is what to thank for it, because farming controls 77,300 farms across Tennessee's landscape, selling livestock and crops. Plus, Tennessee ranks second nationally in the number of meat goats. Tennessee also ranks among the top 10 states producing beef cattle, fresh tomatoes, and snap peas. Remember, all food comes from agriculture, no matter what type it is. The last thing is probably the most overlooked: clothes. Imagine in the fall and winter seasons having to stay inside the entirety of the seasons. If you went outside, you could risk getting hypothermia or frostbite, which is exactly why agriculture is important. Not only in those seasons though, imagine a world without clothes. That would be awkward. Agriculture doesn't care about clothes because one of Tennessee's top 5 agricultural products is cotton. Cotton is used in clothes such as velvet, corduroy, chambray, velour, jersey, and flannel. Also, cotton is used in underwear, socks, bedding, sheets and blankets, and t-shirts. Plus, cotton is used in fishnets, coffee filters, bookbinding, and archival papers. So this is obviously a necessity. So as you can tell, agriculture is very important, and you should probably thank a farmer or an agricultural worker next time you see one, because they make the world go round, agriculturally speaking. As Thomas Jefferson once said, agriculture, manufactures, commerce, and navigation are the 4 pillars of our prosperity, and of the most thriving, one left most free to individual enterprise. What I took from it was that agriculture can't do its job without other things doing their job, but nothing can do its job without agriculture. So what we can say is that from something we use daily to something we use annually, the majority of the necessities come from agriculture.
Why is agriculture so important? How does agriculture affect us in our daily lives? Agriculture is important because it provides many things for humans and animals. Agriculture affects me because it helps give me food to eat, ethanol from corn for gas, and fabric from cotton and wool to use for clothing and necessary items. There are many reasons that agriculture is important. Farming is important because we need food in order to survive. For instance, meat is produced through farming. Meat comes in various forms such as poultry, beef, pork, or mutton. However, food can also be grown. Fruits and vegetables are necessary for nutrients. Protein and vitamins help us stay strong. Farming also provides other foods besides meat, such as vegetables and fruit. Wheat and grains are used in baked goods like bread. Farmers also provide foods for the animals on the farm. Milk comes from cows and goats, and this milk turns into dairy products like butter, sour cream, yogurt, ice cream, and cheese. Eggs come from chickens and ducks. Eggs are a popular food and also are used in many recipes. Without farming, the population may suffer. Did you know agriculture helps us travel too? Gasoline contains ethanol, which is made from corn. The corn keeps the cost down on fuel. Pure gas is a lot more expensive. Corn ethanol is produced by ethanol fermentation and distillation. Thank a farmer for the corn that saves you money on gas. Also, farmers make something that is really important that we take for granted: cotton and fabric. Fabric is made from cotton. Fabric can also be made from wool, which is sheared from a sheep. Once made, fabric can be woven into things like clothes, curtains, blankets, and even some furniture. These can keep us warm during cold weather. It can also protect us from sunburns during the heat. It covers areas of our skin that are exposed to the sun. Without fabric, it could lead to bad things like sunburns, poison ivy, and bee stings. To conclude, agriculture is very important to not only me but all of us. It produces our food for our nutrients. Traveling is made cheaper through corn-based ethanol added to our gasoline, and it creates cotton and wool in order to make fabrics for our homes and clothes. According to Francis Moore LaPay, the real cause of hunger is the powerlessness of the poor to gain access to the resources they need to feed themselves. Mansanabu Fukuoka said, "Food and medicine are not two different things. They are the front and back of one body. Chemically grown vegetables may be eaten for food, but they cannot be used as medicine. Without all of those things, our food supply and environment would suffer and our population would decline."
Daniel's going to take his $75 and his essay and go to the state. And Bailey did an outstanding job, second place. Let's give him another hand. You get the pictures you need, Mr. Bobo? All right, thank you. And Mrs. Harkness, thank you so much for your work with these students and all our students. Now we're going to winners in the Hawkins County 4-H Public Speaking Contest. We're going to start with 6th grade. We're going to have Bella Catherine come up. She was a blue ribbon and purple award winner. She was the overall 6th grade winner. So Bella, do you have your speech you'd like to share with us?
She is cheering.
She's destroying.
She's in Sirloin's
Okay. All right, Eli, that puts you on deck. Eli Boyd, 5th grade, blue ribbon and purple award, overall 5th grade winner. And Eli has a speech for us. Congratulations.
Today, I'm going to be telling you about the life of a star. It all starts with a stellar nebula. A stellar nebula is a star's shell or envelope of nebulosity. A stellar nebula can either go into an average star or a massive star. That will be our two paths, and this process is called nuclear fusion. Once the nebula becomes a star, it will die down, running out of hydrogen fuel in its core. The star begins collapsing, and then the outer shell gets hot enough to begin fusion. The core of the red star then fuses heavier and heavier elements. This is the point where our two paths part. The average star became the red giant, which will turn into a planetary nebula. This happens because the helium fuses into carbon. After that, the core collapses again. When the core collapses, the outer layers are expelled. The planetary nebula is formed by these outer layers. The red supergiants exhaust the helium in their cores within 1 or 2 million years, then burn carbon. This continues with more heavy elements being fused. This also continues on until an iron core builds up, which collapses to create a supernova. After the planetary nebula is a white dwarf. When the red giant sheds its outer layer, forming the planetary nebula, it will leave behind a core. A white dwarf is formed by this core. Going back to the supernova, it can form into either a neutron star or a black hole. A neutron star is created when a supernova's core collapses and the protons and electrons essentially melt into each other, forming neutrons. And this is a fun fact I found. Neutron stars are city-sized stellar objects with a mass about 1.4 times the sun. The supernova can also become a black hole. This happens because a supernova explodes, leaving behind a black hole. And that's the life cycle of a star.
An astronomer or an astronaut, maybe. I'm not sure. Our 4th grade winner, I'm sorry, we have one more 5th grade winner, is that correct?
He was not able to be here tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry. Will Phillips was a blue ribbon winner, so let's hear it for Will. Our 4th grade winner, blue ribbon and purple award overall, 4th grade winner, Carrie Ruth Lawson. Are you ready to share your speech, Carrie? All right, we're excited.
Always heard, don't do this or don't do that. You weren't raised in a barn. Negative opinion of the phrase raised in a barn. But in all honesty, being raised in a barn has probably been the best thing for me growing up. You see, I was raised in a barn, a show barn to be exact. And today I want to talk to you about all the life lessons being raised in a barn has taught me. Number 1, don't be a sore loser. I've learned that losing isn't fun, but it is the way you act after losing that matters. When you walk out of the show ring after a big loss and act bitter towards your fellow showman, that attitude is hard to be forgotten. However, if you take the loss in stride, shake everyone's hand, and work harder for your next show, you will always come out on top. People will remember you more for the attitude you have, not the number of plants under your belt. Number 2, always be kind to others. When you're in the showroom, you're competing against others your age, and sometimes it gets really competitive. If you're like me, I hate to lose, and sometimes I may get mad at people I show against. However, I've learned that we don't always know what each other has been through to get to that show. They may have lost their best friend the night before. They may not be feeling good, or maybe having other kinds of trouble. So no matter what, always be kind. Number 3, responsibility. Because I was raised in a barn, I learned that when taking care of animals, I have to put their needs in front of mine. On mornings that I don't want to get out of bed, I would have to anyways to go feed my animals. I also have to pay attention to their needs and keep them healthy. These animals cannot care for themselves, and they rely on me to meet all of their needs. This has taught me responsibility. Therefore, you can see that raised in a barn isn't so bad. It has taught me not to be a sore loser, always be kind to others, and responsibility. Although there are many more things I have learned. In my opinion, the 3 lessons I've stated in this speech are most important. So maybe next time you say or hear the quote, raised in a barn, you might not think it's all that bad.
Also recognized from 4th grade, and if any of these students are here, I'd love to have you come up and join me. Anna Claire Ketron was a blue ribbon winner. Sophia Galvez was a blue ribbon winner. Caroline Hicks was a red ribbon winner. Shayla Fender, red ribbon. Ainsley Price, red ribbon. And Brandon Dykes, red ribbon. Show them how proud we are of Thank you very much. Everybody get all the pictures they need? All right, thank you. Now we're recognizing the RCS Geography B winner for the 2019-2020 school year, Braden Brown, 4th grade. Capital of Tennessee is? And the county seat of Hawkins County is? Good job, proud of you. Also, if you want to just stand up here, Brady, stay here. The winner of our 2019-2020 RCS Spelling Bee this year was Brady Idson, 8th grade. Thank you, Brady. Anti-disestablishment. We are proud of all of these students this evening for their achievements, and certainly for the teachers who lead them in their educational path, and certainly for the parents and grandparents and all friends who are here that support them every day. We know that you're truly our children's first teachers, and thank you for all you do. Thank you, guys. Proud of
you. Everyone is welcome to stay, but if you need to leave, have everything.
I learned about stars. I learned about way over my head.
Yeah, just a great group, and it always makes us proud to see that they are associated with the Rogersville City School.
Yes, indeed.
All right, the next item on our agenda is public input. If not, next item is Director's Annual Evaluation, and like I said, I went over the evaluations, and I told Ms. Isaac that I look forward to doing it again next year, and then she reminded me, wait a minute, but they were all good. They were all very good, and and we appreciate you, and appreciate all you do. And like I said, we can do it again next year.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You all know what you mean to me, and we'll have opportunities to share that personally in the next 6 months, so thank you.
All right. Okay, next item is approval of consent agenda, and I think everybody has seen that, has copies. of the minutes and various other things. Is there a motion? Is there any item we need to pull out, or if not, we entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as mailed out or as sent out? Is there a motion to? Motion, second. All in favor say aye. Motion carries. All right. I guess old business and new business too is the superintendent search update. And Ms. Isaac, I know we've had some conversations with Mr. Claus, and I'll let you bring update on where we're at.
The position is posted. It now appears on the Tennessee Organization of School Superintendents website. It is posted, it was posted yesterday, it will be posted until 4 p.m. on Friday, February 7th, so it'll be posted for a month. And applicants are directed to contact Mr. Qualls at his address in Centerville. So I did speak with him yesterday, and this was prior to the posting going live. He already has a very strong applicant pool. At least, this was without the posting, at least 4 superintendents either in this state or others. So he has said to me, and if you look on the TOS website and see this posting, you'll see there are a number of superintendent openings around the state. I am not applying for any of them, let's make that perfectly clear. But Mr. Qualls has said to me, he said, I am so positive about the pool we already have without the posting. He said, I don't lie awake at night and worry about what's going to happen in Rogersville. He said, it's just going to be a matter of narrowing a very large pool to the number that you all truly want to move forward with. So is that 3? Is that 5? You know, I don't know if you had that conversation with Mr. Qualls yet or not, but that's something that we will have to.
Yeah, I think that's something we'll address going forward. Once we get the pool and, you know, go through the vetting process, then we'll get together and sort of decide,
Right.
you know.
And we are in a unique situation because there is such interest in the position. And that's a good thing.
That's
And
good.
as I was talking, we'll talk more about this in a moment, for some interviews we're gonna do later in the week, we were talking about what a blessed situation that the new superintendent will be coming into. A very strong, cohesive leadership team that understands their roles, that works effectively every day to support teachers and students. A very effective instructional staff that keeps kids first all the time. Facilities that, you know, issues have been addressed. A lot can happen between now and June, we'll knock on wood. But really, as I said last month, the work that we've all done together have made this a very attractive position. So I'm very optimistic. And, you know, as I've said many times, while Becky has, I've always fondly, Linda Armstrong always said this, we all have a shelf life and a bucket list. And when Becky goes on with her shelf life and bucket list, she will always be interested in what's happening. So, you know, I'm really gonna, if there's information I have or I can share about any of the candidates, once that list is finalized, I'll let you know, and I'll let Mr. Qualls know too. So, I will always have the best interest of this school, this district in mind.
Thank you. You know, we look forward to the process coming up, and, you know, it makes you feel good. You know, people are interested, you know, we're gonna get the best candidate and move forward and keep going, keep on keeping on, I guess, is what I'm saying.
That's exactly right.
Got a good staff, and, you know, I certainly commend all the administrative staff, the teachers,
Support
especially
staff.
the cafeteria, because
Exactly.
I love food. And that's, you know, and it takes everyone to do
It
that.
does.
You know,
It
it's
takes
not
everyone
just
doing their
John.
job.
It takes all of us. All right, that moves on to the.
Yes, and let me go to that section. I actually had communication with Mr. Kenny, John Kenny from Facility System Consultants, who is the principal engineer with whom we contracted to complete this project. And so this was Mr. Kenny's report. Continuing with duct install on the first and second floors as of this week, and hope to be very close to complete with the inside work by the end of next. We'll then spot holes for roof penetrations to allow for the steel reinforcement to be installed. The sheetrock contractor will also be completing their work at this point. Once all inside work is complete, we'll then shift to working days to complete roof equipment demo and new equipment install, including roof duct. They've been working in the evenings since Christmas break. Planning to be complete in 4 to 5 weeks, if not before. So I'm optimistic that our next board meeting, the board meeting on February the 11th, that we're gonna be done or close to done. So
Good,
that's where
good
we
deal.
are in the project.
All right,
I'll be happy to, it's just what I read right here.
Next item is, director's update.
Yes. And let me, again, go to that spot. So we are officially in the second semester of the 1920 school year. The second 9 weeks and the semester ended yesterday through the diligence and hard work of 99% of the teachers who got their grades in on time. Miss Vicki and Mr. Bailey did an excellent job of getting the grades all in and run and rerun, and so the report cards will be going home tomorrow. We have worked diligently here at City School to get the turnaround on our end of a grading period and our reports to parents in a very short period of time. So I challenge any district to see if they can top our number. But so thank you, Miss Vicki, and thank you, Mr. Bailey, and certainly all the teachers who got the grades in a timely fashion. Report cards going home tomorrow. As you know, our Miss April will be leaving us at the end of the week, taking a position with the First Tennessee Corps Office of the Tennessee Department of Education. We will speak privately to her about all the contributions she's made to us here at City School. But I want you to know publicly what a joy it has been for me in the 9 years that I have been here to have her on my team. She's had a number of different roles and responsibilities in that time, always did them with great fidelity, finesse, class, and always keeping the needs of our students first and foremost. She's a team player if I've ever met one, and the Corps Office's gain is certainly our loss. So we are sad to see her go, but certainly wish her every success in her new endeavor. Thank you, April.
Thank you.
We begin interviews for the next Director of Federal Programs and Special Education tomorrow. Notice I did not say April's replacement. Mrs. Winstead, Mr. Hartsook, Mrs. Samantha Mock, and Mrs. Jody Martin will be joining me on the interview team. We have 2 applicants with virtually complete packets that we're going to interview on Thursday. We could potentially have a couple more, probably by the end of the week or first of next. I fully expect we'll have somebody in place by early February at the latest. That's my hope and my anticipation. School Board Appreciation Week occurs the last week of this month. We think you'll be pleased with the way you'll be recognized. Also, please mark your calendars for an appreciation dinner following our February board meeting on the 11th. Miss Shona is coming back by popular demand. The 2021 calendar has been completed in draft form, is out for review, receiving very favorable comments, and will be presented to you for approval in February. Many thanks to Miss Vicki, to Mr. Bill Walker, who has come back year after year after year and provided his expertise on the calendar. As Missy Testerman said, I've never known a man in my life who enjoyed schedules and calendars more than Bill. So we're glad to use his talents and expertise. So in addition to Miss Vicki and Mr. Walker, Mr. Bailey, Mr. Hartsook, thank you all for joining me in calendar development, and certainly to our staff who is always given the opportunity to provide feedback.
May we have a copy of that as well?
The draft calendar? Certainly.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We are currently involved with ELA textbook adoption, and the caravan will be here at City School on Friday. Rhonda, do you want to make any comments about that as our textbook coordinator?
Textbook adoption this year has been a little bit more difficult than usual. We have received lots of textbook samples, and some of the textbook samples that have came in from the state actually were rated low. So we went ahead and pushed those to the side. just due to their low ratings. The other challenge we faced as well is there's actually a waiver due tomorrow to the state of Tennessee. It's mandated across the state. And the waiver basically is for if you want to use a textbook that has a lower rating or a weakness in one area, then you have to go ahead and apply for your waiver tomorrow. And then we adopt textbooks afterward.
The deadline is mandated tomorrow. We are not mandated to do a waiver. The
So-
timing is ridiculous in that the waiver is due on the 15th and the textbook caravan shows up on the 17th. So it makes no sense from a state perspective. You'll be addressing those things moving forward. Well, not in that particular area, but those are the kinds of criticisms that are out there, as you well know. Anything else?
I just think it's a little difficult.
Yes, it is very, yeah. And you have, working with you on that committee, you have,
I have Missy Testerman, I also have Lindsay Davenport, I have Kelly Russell, Carla Monsieur, Jennifer Smith, Dennis Renner, and Adam Harris.
so very strong team. TASA's annual legislative conference is coming up in the first week of February, which I will be attending. The TSBA's Day on the Hill is coming up that next week, which will conflict with our board meeting. That's something that we have really, I think Scott and I went one time in the very early years, but having an in-house liaison between Rogersville City School and the General Assembly is really positive for us, so we don't feel we need to use travel to go to Nashville to talk to Gary Hicks. So we do that when he's in the building. So we typically do not participate in it. The budget process has begun with administrator supervisor requests due to me no later than Tuesday, February the 18th. Prayers for Miss Karen and me as we negotiate this last one. It promises to be a challenge. Our enrollment as of 11:30 this morning was 642. We are 4 students off from this date last year. And certainly I'd like to thank Mr. Bailey for always addressing any attendance and enrollment issue with precision and accuracy and quickness, and for always keeping me abreast of any number and percentage that impacts us here at City School. Thank you, Mr. Bailey. And that concludes the director's update.
All right. I think we've pretty much gone over the announcements and various other things.
We have, of course, we have one, teacher, a
Yeah,
kindergarten teacher who
return.
extended her leave, and then there we go.
Well, that's great. Yeah, tonight's been a great night with all
Oh, yeah.
the speakers and there, and Carla and Laura, thank you all for your help with it. I mean, those kids are great. They are just really great. And, you'll just keep up the good work. I know there's a lot of other people involved in a lot of other things, but I know y'all do a great job. We certainly appreciate it. All right, if there's nothing else, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.